He is going to start, as the odds-on favourite, of course, is the number 11 of Rory Skinner, the 18-year-old from Perth, but he is a supreme talent. The problem for Robin Appleyard, who ran the Integro Yamaha team last year, that has been retagged as Tizers in one of these company takeovers, the Appleyard McAdam Tizers Yamaha, who was going to replace the two-time British champion of Jack Kennedy, who was departing for pastures in the British Superbike paddock. And Appleyard, he came up with a perfect choice, Rory Skinner, and Skinner has not disappointed. He is doing exactly what Jack Kennedy has done for the team over the last couple of years. But how nice is it to see Jamie Perrin with that yellow, blue and white 2016 R6 Yamaha as we now go for 26 laps, the second of the British Supersport races, the Quattro Group British Supersport Championship and British GP2. The red plates, they would be GP2s, and I will be talking about red 34 or red 5 or whatever it is. When I talk red, then that is GP2. Leader then is Rory Skinner from pause there because that is Ben Curry, number 61. Ben Curry, actually born in Germany. He is an Australian, but Ben Curry in second position. Got a good start there with the Gearlink Kawasaki. Yeah, Bradley Jones is there third. No, he's not. That is Jeremy Perrin there third. In fourth place it is. Jeremy Perrin was just hidden behind the green and orange Gearlink fairing of the machine are being ridden there by Ben Curry. And good start there by James Westman. Good start there by General Lee Johnston as well. Just looking for the first of the red machines. And that then, as they go through there, is the number 34 of Alistair Seeley. Alistair Seeley running about 9th or 10th place, but he's the first of the GP2s. Principal difference in these early stages of the GP2 and the Stockers. The Stockers, of course, they are basically the showroom machines there with very little able to be done to the motorcycles. They run on treaded tires and they must run a stock standard engine, whereas the GP2s, they run a bespoke chassis, a much lighter bespoke chassis, but they can run with slick tires, which makes them grippier through the corners, but they have their performance docked at 128 horsepower, so they cannot have any more power than that with the GP2 machines. They are the red-plated machines. Jamie Perrin hooked right on the tail of Ben Curry, but ahead of them, it is the runaway kid of Rory Skinner. Beautiful shot as they go through that Beckett's Corner in the early stages and through Luffield as well. The cameras just pan in and you can see the angle of lean that these riders take on. And bear in mind that they are running with the Pirelli road treaded tyres. Up to third place goes Brad Jones, just pushes Jamie Perrin back to fourth. At the end of that lap, James Rose. What a cracking performance this by James Rose, the number 28 rider. Was disappointed, very disappointed with his performance of yesterday, James Rose. His tyre did not do what he expected to do. He finished 9th overall in the Supersport, but James Rose, the number 28 rider out there, just 32 years of age he is now, but spent most of his life not racing. He's like a yo-yo. He's the yo-yo kid, been in and out of racing. And the last time he actually raced seriously was back in 2016, before we saw him at Snetterton 2 weeks ago, and he patently has not lost any of his racing skills. He is a pure nugget of gold of talent, is James Rose, and he went through in 6th position at the end of that first lap. Here come the race leaders through then to complete lap number 3. The lap record yesterday was set for the overall 55.749. Pretty close to that already, Skinner, 55.8, and he already with a 1.2 second advantage. We've got a faller out there. We've got it's taken 2 or 3 riders down there, and it looks as if poor old Ross Patterson is one of those. That is the number 6 of Ross Patterson that's involved in what looks to be a couple of riders out there. Come back to that momentarily, but both riders look, in fact, it may be more than 2 riders, but both riders at least 55 and 6. It was the 55 and it was the 6 crashing out together at turn number 6, and the 55, Jack Scott, running in the GP2s. Tall figure, should have recognised him because he's now well over 6 foot, is Jack Scott. But his race is over, as also it is for Ross Patterson. Poor Ross Patterson, that really is the icing on the cake there as far as he's concerned. He's been down the road in a big way during, I think it was qualifying or free practice, when he clipped the end, or was clipped on the front end by Corey McGreevy, I think, in one of the sessions.
That's the championship leader in the GP2s out as well, Jack Scott, with Mason Law's problems yesterday, taking over the lead in the championship, as it looks like we've got the safety car out for that, Fred.
Yes, it is. The safety car has been deployed. I suspect that was a bit of gravel that was put on the circuit, nothing more innocuous than that. But yes, you're right, Jack Scott leading the GP2 category by 2 points out of Mason Law. Charlie Nesbitt, he's third in that category, 12 points back, and then Yara Boerboom, who's running fourth, ahead of Dan Jones. In the overall championship, Rory Skinner, perfect record, 5 starts, 5 victories, 5 times 25 means 125 points, which is 50 points to the good, ahead of James Westmoreland on the Gearlink Kawasaki, and he's 12 points ahead of Bradley Perry. Where was Bradley Perry in that one? He was way down the order, 10th place actually, the number 97 of Bradley Perry. Skinner, that's got a new engine in. I did tell you at the beginning of the show here that because of the gearbox problems they suffered in yesterday's opening race, didn't stop him getting the victory. In fact, we do get the fullness. Let's have a look. 550, is it 550 and 45. Well, that is sad to say, because that is the number 45 of Scott Swan. And how many times have we said that with regard to that number 45? But the number 5, and that is Mason Law, second in the GP2 category. That is the number 550 of Yara Boerboom. And poor Yara Boerboom, that is probably the 4th time he's hit the tarmac here at Silverstone this weekend, through, in many respects, through no fault of his own. But that was at turns 3 and 4. And I suppose on this circuit, if you choose a place where you didn't want to fall off, it'll be turns 3 and 4, because that is the high-speed run up toward Maggots and then in toward Beckett's.
Well, that truck for Jorrel Boerboom going back to the Netherlands will be a lot lighter, won't it, than it arrived here, because they, as you say, I've counted at least 3 crashes for Jorrel this weekend. But
yes, their use of available bits and pieces will have lightened the load considerably, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So they may go through in the domestic lane rather than the commercial.
I just hope he's perfectly okay, though, poor Jorrel. Jorrel, who has been staying in this country, he's not been travelling back and forth. Many people saying, well, how does he get past the lockdown? Well, he's been staying temporarily in this country. He's normally accompanied by his dad. His right-hand man is his dad, but his dad, of course, due to work factors and so on, has stayed back home in the Netherlands. But hopefully all is okay. There is one rider down on the deck. We'll see if we can get some identification or information with regard to that one. Just catching the tail end of that crash there, which was on the exit of Beckett's corner by the look of it. Safety car lights still are illuminated, meaning that the safety car will remain out on the circuit until such time as those long there. Rory Skinner might just get his leg slapped if he does that again. He was alongside the safety car. I think the last person who got disqualified for overtaking a safety car was Carl Ryde at Mallory Park on a 125, wasn't it, Larry?
Yeah, that was many years ago, wasn't it, when they didn't quite know what to do. It's a little bit like when you see the cycle races and the support cars pass the drinks through the window to the various riders or whatever. I thought that Rory Skinner was going to have a chat with Chris Glendinning and Steve Solly in the safety car there. Maybe just getting a drink off them or something like that.
What this has done, of course, this does negate any advantage that was enjoyed by any rider. The regulation stating that the riders can clearly close up to the rider in front, but they cannot do any overtaking under the safety car conditions. If they do, they will be penalised, and I suspect that will be with a long lap penalty. But the illumination still are on the lights on the top of the BMW, and that would be at least one more lap.
Not in this lap, Fred.
It is. Safety car in this lap. Well, it's looking as if those lights are still flashing. Not got the best TV pictures here at Silverstone, unfortunately. Certainly not high definition, the pictures that we're receiving here. I don't know the high definition where you are, Larry, but by far and away not high definition pictures that we're enjoying here this weekend. So can't actually see visually whether the safety car lights are on or off, but the indication is safety car in this lap. And that will turn off, and there it does, go down in toward the pit lane, approaching Woodcote Corner, and then the riders come through on full chat, and then we are racing once again.
Didn't make the best of that restart, did he, Rory Skinner? He seemed to be caught a little bit lax there, Fred. Kerry and Brad Jones had a go at him.
Well, there must be a certain confidence within the lad there. He, particularly after yesterday, Larry, when he rejoined the circuit in 11th, was still able to come through to take the victory. I don't think there's too much that will frighten him with the opposition here at the moment. That's no disrespect to any of the other riders. And they indeed must be scratching their own heads to say, well, how on earth do we get the better of this marvellous Tysers R6 and the ability of Rory Skinner. Jamie Perrin trying to pick off a few places there. He was back in 5th place, Jamie Perrin. Curry's gone back because Brad Jones has gone up to 2nd place. It is ties as 1-2. Ryder stopped with a technical problem. That was the number 44 that has retired with a technical problem. That is Dan Jones, who had a 4th place yesterday, I think, in the GP2s. So as they come through, then Skinner, Brad Jones, both running for the Appleyard McAdam Tysers Yamaha squad. Perrin is their 3rd. Ben Curry is their 4th. Generally Johnson is their 5th. True Love is running their 6th. It is Westman running 7th. James Rose is running 8th. It is then Corey McGreevy from Ballinhinch, number 57. And then Bradley Perry, number 97. Not as effervescent as he was yesterday. Bradley Perry with that red museum piece R6. I say museum piece, and it is basically a 2008 chassis with an updated 2016 motor that he runs. Number 13, a technical problem, and that is a retirement for the number 13, and that is Wiggly Kurt, the twin of Wiggly Matt. So number 13 into pit lane as well. Just looking on the tail end, just behind Curry. And that's generally Johnson now has gone ahead of Curry, so he's on the tail of Jamie Perrin. So there are changes going ahead. Skinner, Jones, Perrin, Johnston, Curry, Truelove, Westmond, Rose, Perry up to 9th place, Seeley up to 10th, Nesbitt up to 11th, and Cameron Horseman up to 12th. I think that was the 1, 2, 3 yesterday of the way the GP2s finished. Seeley, Nesbitt and Horseman. Yes, it was, with Jack Scott coming home 4th in the red-plated category. But at the moment, it is Seeley, Nesbitt and Horseman running 10th, 11th and 12th overall. But take them out of the reckoning and they score their own points. 25 points for a win. That would be for Seeley, 20 for second for Nesbitt, and 25, 16 for Horseman. Assuming, of course, they do get home in those positions. But the gist of the matter is we compare apples with apples and pears with pears and not vice versa. 52.727 now, 55.727. That now is an improvement on the lap record. Who's got it? Jamie Perrin has got that lap record. And again, that is not the latest of machines that he's riding there. The 2016 is that's his own bike. They've had to bring it out of retirement and dust it down. He started off the year running for Dave Tyson's Bike Devil Racing team on the MV Augusta, but after a couple of none too happy performances or finishes for Jamie Perrin, decided that they would go their own way, and he came out with his own Yamaha at Snetterton. Just an update here, and unfortunately it is Scott Swan to the medical centre. No further news than that, but Scott Swan to the medical centre for further assessment, it says at the moment. So hopefully that all will be okay with the tall rider from Larne over there in Northern Ireland. Let's get back with the leaders. That's Johnson, who's ahead of Jamie Perrin, so that means that Johnston now is up onto the podium, because I assume that Skinner and Bradley Jones are still leading this one first and second. I can see and look left-handed, and they should already have gone through. Well, certainly the leader's gone through there, and that is Skinner. He's almost 2 seconds up the road now. Bradley Jones, in fact, has gone backwards, so that's Johnson into second position, and Bradley Jones has gone back a place 2. A rider coming down the pit lane as a retirement. I'm not going to guess who that is. Larry will give the number across to me momentarily, but that is a retirement at the moment going down the pit lane. Skinner, Johnston, Perrin, Jones, Curry, Westman, Truelove, Rose, Perry, Seeley, Nesbitt, Horseman, Oliver, Kerr, Archer, Armstrong, Thompson, Fraser, Hartog, Wakefield, Wigley, McGreevy, and I think that may well be James. It
was Corey McGreevy, Fred.
Was that Corey McGreevy?
Yes, it was, yeah.
So that then is the number 57. That is the retirement as well. So James Rose, of course, James Rose is running there in 8th place, the number 28 rider. I think Corey McGreevy, the rider still circulating, or was, and he now has gone into pit lane, so we've got 21 riders still circulating, of which the leaders have just gone through, and that is Skinner. Just under 2 seconds clear now of General Lee Johnston, number 69. He in turn is 0.18 ahead of Perrin, who is 0.15 ahead of Bradley Jones, who is 0.3 ahead of Ben Curry.
James Rose in trouble as well.
Now. James Rose is in trouble as I look now. He's looking down to the motor, and his race is over. And that is the number 28 of James Rose, who is a retirement into turn number 1. And that is a technical problem there for the number 28. He was running in 9th position, the number 28, but he now, his race is over. He'll be back on duty, though, when we get to Alton Park in 2 weeks' time. But he's got a fresh appetite for racing now, has James Rose. His younger son was out in that fantastic junior Supersport. He's the father of a new daughter. I think the daughter is only about 3 months old, young Bobby. as the leaders come through, and leader now in excess of 2 seconds. Yes, 2.3 seconds, such is the pace of Rory Skinner. He is circulating in the low 56 as he's lapping consistently 0.1 to 0.2 of a second quicker than anybody else out there on the circuit. Charlie Nesbitt now the first of the GP2 machines. That is the number 86, so wee Charlie Nesbitt, not so wee Charlie Nesbitt, but Charlie, who used to race. He won the British Moto3 Championship back in 2016. He then, the following year, went out to race in the, and that now is that Charlie Nesbitt with a problem. That is our number 86 out there with a problem. We're just talking about Charlie Nesbitt, and he now is a retirement. Number 86 just raises his arm, and that is going to be a retirement, and he was actually leading the GP2s. And that is number 86, Charlie Nesbitt, just looking to see, and he will be coming down the pit lane. Charlie Nesbitt, the Quattro team ABM Triumph Power Unit. That is sad for him indeed. As I was about to say, he was racing in the Spanish Championships and was going to have a ride here in the Moto3 British Grand Prix a couple of seasons ago. Let's get back with the leaders. Well, it's not so much the leader because he is already disappeared away up the road, and that is Rory Skinner. 3 seconds ahead of. This is the battle now for the 2 steps on the podium, and Jamie Perrin goes up in the second place. Bradley Jones is back there in third place. That then is Ben Curry, and that then is General Lee Johnston. The 4 riders battling for 2 vacant positions on the podium. Jamie Perrin, certainly judging by yesterday's result, Jamie Perrin, who finished just off of the podium, thoroughly deserves to get a place on the podium in this second repeat outing. He's just been passed there by Brad Jones to make it again a 1-2 for the Tysers Yamaha squad at the moment. Bradley, Generally Johnson now beginning to home down onto the rear wheel of Jamie Perrin, and he's taking along Ben Curry along just for the ride. Ben Curry, actually born in Würzburg in Germany, does speak fluent German as well as Australian. Personally, I can't tell the difference, Australian and German, it's all foreign to me, but he does speak it, and Mum is back home there. She normally listens in to BSB radio, does Mum Doris down there in Germany, and in Australia, and has been on more than one occasion a visitor across here to these shores, as also as Ben Curry's dad. Just picking up now with the leader of the GP2s, and that's Red 72, so that would be Cameron Horseman, 72 Cameron Horseman, who was runner-up in the British Talent Cup of last year, and I tell you what, he was so unlucky not to have beaten Scott Ogden in both the British Talent Cup and also in the British Moto3 Standard category. All the plaudits went the way of Scott Ogden because he won both categories, but it all came down to a load of bad luck that went the way of Cameron Horseman. Good to see Cameron, though, making a bit of a mark for himself here in the GP2 category. He's ahead then of Alistair Seeley and Tommy Oliver in that class. That's running overall 9th, 10th and 11th. Give you the rundown of those riders circulating. Bradley Perry's coming back in on the active. Bradley Perry now right on the tail of number 3, James Westman. So that means that Perry is running in 7th place because Westy is running 6th. So at the end of lap number 17 of this Quattro Group British Supersport Championship and GP2 Cup, Skinner, Johnston, Perrin, Curry, Bradley Jones, Westman, Trullo, Perry, Horseman, Seeley, Oliver, Archer, Kerr, Armstrong, Thompson, Hartog, Fraser, Wakefield, Matt Wigley, and I think that's it because the next rider's name is Charlie Nesbitt and he is a retirement, and so that is 19 riders now circulating. And that's pretty rare for the Supersports. They normally have a very good reliability factor, do the Supersports and GP2s. Bradley Perry now ahead of James Westman. That's number 97, the distinctive red colouring of the number 97, the Diamond H Racing Yamaha. Backing from Diamond H, it's actually Diamond H lifting equipment of Berkeley in County Durham. He also gets help from JT Leyland Haulage up there in Cumbria, and also Herald Motorcycles, who are based on the Isle of Man. A little bit of help coming the way from them for Bradley Perry, the Guy Martin Mark II. And when Larry Carter gets an opportunity, which I don't think will be today, but when he gets an opportunity for an interview, you'll understand why we refer to Bradley Perry as the Guy Martin Mark II. Get back with the race leaders. They're already on their way in toward Brooklands for what will be the 19th of 26 times. This is the feature race going further than they went yesterday. It was an 18-lapper of yesterday, which would mean that the flag would have been out 1 lap ago, but they are coming up now to complete lap number 19 of this, the feature race, which will accentuate any problems any riders had with the tyres on this longer distance. No change of the leading... the leading 11 riders having just gone through, no change there. Look a little bit further down the order, see if there are any changes behind. To which the answer is in the negative. And, Keenan Armstrong's gone back a couple of places. He's gone back from 15th back to 17th. So that means Hartog and Fraser move up a place. Hartog moves up to 10th in the Supersport. And Cameron Fraser, he moves up to 6th in the GP2s. This battle for the vacant second and third, i.e. silver and bronze steps on the podium, has not been settled by any stretch of the imagination. At the moment, Johnson holds second, Perrin holds third, Bradley Jones holds fourth, and Ben Curry, he's dropping a little way back off the pace now. In fact, Ben Curry's going to come under pressure from, I think that would be Harry Truelove that is homing down on him. Here they come through, and we can see whether that's Truelove. It is indeed Ben Curry. Up to sixth place then is Truelove number 4 from Piri 97, Westy number 3. The lead for Skinner, 4.3 seconds. Johnston, he is 0.1 ahead of Perrin, who's 0.17 ahead of Bradley Jones, who's 0.8 ahead of Curry, who's 0.159 ahead of Truelove. Then half a second back on that is Piri, Westman, Horseman, Seeley, Oliver, Archer et al. As we're back with the race leader in toward Brooklands. He's not hanging about. It has to be said, he's not hanging about, and he's not resting on his laurels. He was getting the back wheel well out of line. He was really backing it in toward Brooklands corner across there on that lap, and trying to be emulated there by General Lee Johnson, who made a complete and utter porridge of it, and he's dropped 2 places as General Lee. Started his lap second. He's going to end this lap in 4th is the General. Skinner goes through, and that lead now 4.5 seconds. Perrin with the fast lap, 55.757, which is the new lap record for the category. Lap 22 of 26. Jamie Perrin, the rider from Kettering in Northamptonshire, rider number 76, holds that second position at the moment. He's got to bring it home, though, to get onto the podium, and we would have to then, I know that Larry's probably already started consulting with his record books. He's pushed back to third because that is Bradley Jones that has moved up there, and Bradley Jones just holding that second place now ahead of Jamie Perrin. We have to go back to last year in the GP2s. He ran for the Nova Racing squad last year, did Jamie Perrin. Finished 7th in the British GP2s, but his season came to a somewhat premature end when he smashed his elbow following a big crash at Thruxton. Had 7 second places and 2 third places last year, but this is really seeing the Jamie Perrin, for my money, back to 2017, I think, when he finished 7th in the British Supersport, and on a couple of occasions had 4th place, I think, Snetterton and Thruxton that particular year. That really showed the mettle of Jamie Perrin, the 27-year-old. So far this year, he retired on lap 1 at Donington Park. He retired in the second race. That's why he parted ways with the Bike Devil MB Augusta squad. He used his own Yamaha at Snetterton, finishing 10th place in the first of the 2 races, but he fell foul of the dreaded tyre pressure investigation. His tyre pressures were checked on the grid for race number 2 at Snedden. They were found to be slightly below the minimum, and he was pulled off the grid, and at that point he decided, well, there's no point in me restarting if I've been pulled off the grid and going to start from the back of the grid. So he didn't actually start the second of the 2 races at Snedden.
What does this sound like, Fred? Just done a snapshot of the points as they stand at present. If the state as they are at present, at the culmination of this race, Rory Skinner would have a 70-point lead, 70-point lead after 6 rounds of the championship.
With 150 points maximum still up for grabs. I'll tell you what, on this sort of form, he can wrap it all up by the first race at Donington Park, can Rory Skinner. But as we know, Larry, this is motorcycle racing, and many a thing can happen, as the history has shown. I'll tell you what, history is showing us here that Bradley Piri is still in there, launching with intent right on the rear boot of Ben Curry. That scrap behind is pretty close. If we look to it, Perrin is 5.6 seconds behind Skinner, but also Seeley's only 7.6. So there's 2 seconds covering the next 8 or 9 riders as they then go into lap number 25, the penultimate lap of the race. Skinner 6 seconds plus ahead of Jones, Perrin, Truelove, Johnson, Curry, Piri. Westy actually would move up to 8th in the Supersports because Horseman, Oliver and Seeley are a couple that are running in the GP2s. I think for Tommy Oliver, let me just have a quick look here for Tommy Oliver, because
where's Harry Truelove come from in all of this, Fred?
Well, he's been launching with intent. He has been there around about that 4th and 5th place for some time now, the number 4 rider of Harry Truelove with the Truelove Brothers R6 Yamaha. But I tell you what, the two Truelove brothers this year, Larry, have both improved their act. They really have. And Truelove is indeed there. And generally Johnson a problem. Now looks if that's Retirement City, then it is. He's looking down toward the rear left-hand side, and that's going to be game over for General Lee Johnson. That will be the number 69, retiring with 1 lap to go. Well, we are now into the 25th and final lap, and 6.5 seconds. Well, yes, the old flame spitting Ashcourt's bike. But let's get back with this. And Truelove now goes up into 2nd place. And Larry Carter posed the question. Well, there's the answer. Truelove is up then into 2nd place. Up into 3rd place. Then it's Bradley Jones. And back to 4th place. And yesterday goes Jamie Perrin. Poor old Jamie Perrin looks as if the rug for the second meeting or the second day on the trot, the rug is going to be pulled away from under his feet here in terms of the podium. He's not going to get back at them into all Brooklands, but Brad Jones is going to try on the inside as they go into toward that left-hander, and he just nudges the elbow of Truelove. That might be the opportunity for Perrin to make some sort of capital out of that. The elbow was definitely nudged there as Bradley Jones got underneath him. There's the win for Skinner. Who's going to win the drag toward the flag? It's going to be a 1-2 for Tysers, and it is Bradley Jones. Bradley Jones gets home in 2nd place. Truelove gets home in 3rd place, and that for Truelove, 2nd podium of the series. He was 2nd at Snetterton, but for the 2nd meeting the 2nd race back to back, Jamie Perrin finishes 1 place shy of being on the podium. It was Skinner, number 11, by 6 3/4 seconds ahead of Bradley Jones, who got home by 65 1/1000 ahead of number 4, Harry Truelove. He in turn was 53 1/1000 of a second ahead of 75, Jamie Perrin. Then a second back on that was 61, that's Ben Curry. Next ride home, the first, and that's the first win for the GP2s for Tommy Oliver. First time he'll go onto the top step of the podium in that category. Next ride home would be 6 in the Supersports. That would be Bradley Perry, the number 97 rider. Next rider home would be the 2nd of the GP2s. That's Cameron Horseman. Next rider would be Alistair Steele, 3rd of the GP2s. Next rider then would be 7th, well 10th overall, but 7th of the Supersports, and that's James Westman, followed by Thompson, Archer, Kerr, Fraser, Hartog, Armstrong, Wakefield, and the final finisher in 18th position, the number 99 of Matt Wigley.